Hello everyone, welcome back to Vocab with Disha, session 11 of What Pa Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Today we are going to learn 10 interesting words for different kind of scientists. You might already know words like biologist or astronomer, but do you know exactly what these scientists study? In this video, we will break down 10 such words and see how their roots can help us understand their meanings. So let's get started with the first word, that is anthropologist. Let's break it down. Anthropo comes from the Greek word meaning human being or mankind, and ology means to study. So, an anthropologist is simply someone who studies human being. How we develop over time in body and in mind from early tribes to modern societies. Think of an anthropologist as a detective for human history, piecing together clues about how we became who we are today. For example, an anthropologist might travel to a remote village to study how people there live, speak, and organize their families. Next up, astronomer. The root astro comes from the Greek word for star. You have probably seen this root word before in words like astronaut, someone who travels among the stars. The second part, nomos, means law or arrangement. So, an astronomer studies the law and patterns of the stars, planets, and everything else out in the space. Picture someone looking through a giant telescope at night, tracking how a distant planet moves across the sky. That's an astronomer at work, trying to understand the order of the universe. Word number three, geologist. Here, geo means earth in Greek, and ology means to study, and you get someone who studies the earth itself, its rocks, soil, mountains, and the forces that shape them, like earthquakes and volcanoes. Imagine a geologist walking along a cliff, picking up different rocks and explaining that each layer tells a story about what happened on Earth millions of years ago. Now let's talk about biologist. Here, bio is a root word meaning life, and ology means study. So, a biologist is someone who studies life, studies all living things. They could study anything alive, humans, animals, plants, even tiny bacteria you can only see under a microscope. Our fifth word is botanist. This one comes from the Greek word botan, which means plant or pasture, basically green growing things. So, a botanist is someone who studies plants like trees, crops, flowers, and everything that grows from the soil. If you have ever visited a botanical garden, you already know this root. A botanist might study why a certain flower only blooms in spring or how a plant survives in the desert with almost no water. Next is zoologist. The root zoon comes from the Greek word meaning animal and logy means study. So, a zoologist is someone who studies animal behavior, bodies, and habitat, the place they live. Picture a zoologist watching a group of lions in the wild for months just to understand how they hunt and raise their young. That patience and curiosity is exactly what the word describes. Now, next word number seven is entomologist. The root entomon is originated from the Greek root meaning insect, and it actually means something like cut into pieces because insects have bodies divided into clear segments like head, thorax, and abdomen. So, an entomologist is someone who studies bees, ants, butterflies, and all the insects. So, next time you see ants marching in a perfect line, remember there's a whole profession, entomology, dedicated to understand exactly why they do that. Now we move from nature to language. Our eighth word is philologist. Philo means love in Greek. You have seen it in philosophy, which literally means love of wisdom, and logos means word or speech. So a philologist is quite beautifully a lover of words, someone who studies the history and development of languages. So, a ninth word is semanticist. This comes from the Greek word semantikos, meaning significant or full of meaning. A semanticist studies meaning itself, how words come to mean, what they mean, and how that meaning can change over time. Here's a simple example. The word nice used to be foolish hundreds of years ago in English, completely different from now we use it today. A semanticist studies exactly that kind of change. So, our final word is sociologist. The root socius is a Latin For companion or society, an ology means study of. So, sociologist is someone who studies society, how groups of people live together, form communities, and create rules and traditions. A sociologist might study why people in big cities behave differently from people in the small villages, or how social media has changed the way friends communicate. So, let's do a quick recap of everything we learned today. An anthropologist studies humans, an astronomer studies star and space, a geologist studies the earth, a biologist studies life in general, a botanist studies plants, a zoologist studies animal, an entomologist studies insects, a philologist studies languages, a semanticist studies meaning, and a sociologist studies society. Notice something. Almost every single one of these words is built from the same two pieces, a root that tells you what is being studied, and an ending like ologist and ist that tells you a person who studies it. Once you know this pattern, you can figure out new words all on your own. So here's your homework. Pick just one of these 10 words and write a sentence using in the comment below. If this video helped you, give it a like. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, keep learning, keep growing.